Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Today is Monday, July 29th, 2024, and you are in the Java Cafe for a special brew this afternoon. We have our Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who is joining us in just a few moments. But for those of you that follow her on social media, may be aware that the Stewart healthcare system has decided to close one of the over 100-year-old hospitals in the Dorchester area, and there is a significant economic health equity impact. And so she is going to be a few minutes late coming from there. We'll speak about that. We're going to talk about Project 2025, as well as what's going on in the Democratic Party with the nomination of Kamala Harris to be our presidential nominee. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit the share button for those of you that are listening over on Instagram. Shout out to Black Dollar USA, a few others, Life Coach Chris, who was our guest this morning. Just Kim, hey sister, good morning, good to see you. Davis System and others. Those of you that are on Twitter as well, thank you for joining. Prior to our Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley coming in, we have a young man that's able to speak to quite a few things, and he has a decade, if not more, history around health equity. So one of the first things we'll talk about is just the impact of the closing of Kearney Hospital, a decision made by the Stewart healthcare system, and also get his perspective on Project 2025. There's a healthcare impact there, as well as the importance of Black men voting. Y'all know former city councilor Tito Jackson, also the CEO. I often make a joke that our councilor went from city councilor to the weed man, but also the CEO and owner of Apex excuse me, in downtown Boston, which I had the opportunity to visit the other day. And shout out to Dee and the whole staff there. That they got some great folks there. I still call you counselor. How are you, sir?
How you doing, brother? It's great to be with you and the whole Java with Jimmy crew.
It's been a while since you've been. It's been, I think, a couple of years since you've been on, brother. And so thank you for sort of this last minute stand in. I have to ask you, as a Black man, as an entrepreneur, as someone that is very politically astute, seeing what's going on, I have to ask you, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited, and I'm feeling an injection of energy into the national political space that I haven't felt in a long time.
Wait. You go right into the work. No.
Okay. You know what? I'm doing really well, brother. I'm doing really well. In a very good place. Personally, as you know, Jimmy, I actually reconnected with my birth mom about actually going on, it's a little bit over 4 years ago. And so I have two younger brothers that brother didn't know about before. And so I'm lucky. I have two moms, and things are rocking out really, really nicely, man. So I'm in a really good place, and business is also going really well at Apex Noir Cannabis. And then about a month ago, actually Juneteenth, we opened Apex Rooftop Bar and Lounge, which is Boston's first and only Black-owned R&B speakeasy. So we now have a place to go downtown, downtown, and it's ours, and it's our music, it's our flow, it's our vibe, and it's our flavor. So would love for folks to come on out. Actually, yesterday was historic. We actually did our first Sunday brunch service, which is really, really dope. And really, really, you weren't there for that one, but you were definitely there prior. Yes. So that's what's up. So I'm really happy to be able to be on. I am not Counselor / Congresswoman, just bomb sister Presley, but I'm glad to be able to be on today.
I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're doing well. And with all that's going on, glad to hear that you're doing well. But let's talk about some things that, I would say, despite these things, and we'll get into the list of things going on. One, all politics are local. Stewart healthcare system decided to close Kearney Hospital. You are a Black man You have two moms. I know that your mom is a senior. Healthcare is hugely important to you. You worked in that space for some years, sir. What is
Yes.
your reaction to that decision being made from an economic standpoint to the impact? There is a joke that, don't take me to Carney. However, it's
No.
still a hospital and they are required to meet those needs of that neighborhood and those that go there. What is your response to their decision to close?
I am disgusted by the closure of Kearney Hospital. It will leave a healthcare desert in the middle of our community. In addition, this could potentially be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because understand the number. By the way, I do need to self-identify. I go to Kearney. My primary care is John Ferranti at Kearney. When I had my tonsils out when I was 25, I had my tonsils out over there, and so and by the way, I was in pharmaceutical sales for about 8 years in the beginning of my career, so I know the hospitals pretty well. So it is a critical resource in our community, and understand shifting all of those patients to Boston Medical Center is all that's going to do is increase wait times that are already ridiculous, and they're doing the best that they can over there. And so, for me, when I look at this play, it is really horrible what it's going to do to our community, and what it's going to do to people in our community, and it's literally going to exacerbate healthcare disparities. Access to healthcare, because the other piece is it's right down the street from Ashmont Station. And so when we're asking people in our community to travel even further for healthcare, and as you know, Jimmy, in particular, Black men, right,
Yes,
who
sir.
sadly, and we have a lot of work to do here, one of the disease states that is absolutely critical that we get looked at, and I have to give a shout out to the brothers who are doing this work around prostate cancer. We know as a Black man, if we get prostate cancer, we have a 250% higher chance of dying.
Yep.
Right. And so you and I work and we do some stuff around making sure that there's police reform and the like, but we know that prostate cancer is taking out way more brothers on an annual basis relative to that. We know that people need primary care physicians and the opportunity to make sure that they're able to take care of themselves. So it disgusts me, and to see the corporate gluttony that happened with this. And also, I will have to put on the state that the reviewing what was happening and the economics of what was happening at Kearney, that wasn't happening over this a period of time. And this is a private institution. It's one that had venture capital and private equity money in it. We should have been looking even harder at this versus what has happened. So it upsets me. And I will also just finish this part about there's an organization called NEMA, which is Black
Yes.
doctors,
Yep. Shout
right?
out to Elena
Elena
Stinson.
Elena
Yep. Yep.
Stinson,
Yep.
right? Dr.
Yep.
Elena Stinson. Why haven't they been consulted? Why are they not at the head of this rather than the foot? Why are they an afterthought when it comes to the work that's being done? Black doctors need to be in the center of these conversations, and not a call that happens after. And so I want to hear her voice. I want to hear what Black doctors are saying about what's going on in and around our community, because we know they have their fingers on the pulse on a daily basis. So it disgusts me, and I would this is potentially criminal. What has happened to this system, and I personally believe that the state of Massachusetts should do everything possible to make sure that Kearney Hospital actually stays around, because the other piece about Kearney, you and I have been around long enough. That's going to end up a luxury condo city
right there next to Ashmont, which is
that's
easier for
right.
the
So that's
gentrification.
if not careful, that's going to end up dot block or ink block
Or
or whatever.
or what were they trying to call it? The chest.
Yeah. Okay,
Got it.
Sodo be south of Dorchester or something that nah, you know, people, and then to your point also earlier, there are amazing physicians there.
Yeah,
There are amazing staff there. That is also a unionized hospital,
absolutely.
right?
And
So
shout
those
out to
folks,
SEIU and Mass Nurse Association.
yeah, right.
Counselor, speaking, you talked about Black women being at the forefront and Black doctors being involved. Elena Stenson is a Black woman. We got Black women in leadership. We have our Congresswoman who just came in, and I thank you for filling in. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to as we get ready to bring her in. We have a Black woman that is the nominee for the President of the United States. And just before we get ready to chat with our Congresswoman, we're going to let you cross over with her. You two are former colleagues. I heard you a couple of seconds ago refer to her as Counselor Pressley, but that's where you guys started, at least at this level, that
Well,
work. And so,
Well,
Counselor,
correction,
yeah,
correction. She started as counselor because she beat me. She beat a brother.
would
That
you
first
run
go
for at
round. That's what
large?
we got to set the record.
Let's bring it
No. So hold on. Shit, a brother, and Jimmy. I used to be mad. A brother would used to be mad. I caught that L in the beginning, and now I'd be like, yeah, I lost to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to make a one-on-one T-shirt. That's what, brother. I'm about to make a one-on-one T-shirt. But
and you went from there to work for the Gov, and then you came back to the council. So stop.
That's what's up. But I do want to
our state where this is legal, he's now become the cannabis man as well too.
Yes,
Congresswoman.
Well, I want to first say, I want to thank my representative, Ayanna Pressley, as a congresswoman, but as a person. She's someone who not only does the politics side, but this is personal for her. She supported me in some of my most difficult times, and I know and I see the work that she's doing, barnstorming across the nation for our next president. And we must, as Black men, I'm going to say this loud and proud. I will not allow anyone, including other Black men, to call Black women out of their name, to disrespect, to disregard, and to discount sisters who are always more qualified to get these roles. Ain't nobody handed anyone
Nothing.
Black anything, because if I had that Black card, Jimmy, I'd have used it a whole long time ago. And so it is so critical that as Black men that we stand up and ensure that these sisters are first physically protected. And I'm not even going to go into the things that are said, the threats that probably happen on a daily basis to the lives of Representative Pressley, her family, and others. We're not having it, and we're going to let you know right away. We're not having that. You're not going to call folks out of their name, but in addition, as Black men, we're going to support this amazing sister who is going to lead our country. She's going to make history, and she's going to actually turn the ships around and change the tide of what has happened. And so I'm going to go ahead and push it over to my sister, my favorite Congresswoman. And people forget we had a Black senator in the state of Massachusetts decades before we had our first Black Congress person, and it just turns out she's the baddest sister out there. So I'm going to go ahead.
I love you so much. You said I think the way to introduce Tito is to say my former colleague and forever brother. That's the most accurate way. And we're so grateful for you, brother. And I love calling you CEO. Looks good on you. I love your Black job. Do the damn thing. I love your Black job.
Yes, ma'am. And sister, if you are ever feeling like you need some uplift, we do have some things that are legal for those
Lord have
over the age of
mercy.
of 21. And
Counselor,
we
counselor,
did win Best of Boston for edibles last year. And
counselor.
so
Know that.
yes,
That's incredible.
yes. Well, actually, hold on. So first off, it also must be noted, and I'm going to give it back
Look
to
at
you, but
Jimmy's
it must
tripping
be
because
noted
my
that
college team
she
is gonna come
led
here and tell him I gotta go. So
she
No, but
led
listen,
she led in legalization of cannabis and
yeah,
actually equity in cannabis. With that said, I know I'm getting kicked off, so I
counselor,
will
I
holler at y'all
appreciate
later.
you. Thank you for stepping in, brother. Love you, man.
Okay, love you
Uh,
too.
our Congresswoman, a moment of black joy. I'm going to make the best use of your time, but I'm not going to have you here and see all that's going on and all that you're doing. And not start off by asking, first of all, how are you, AP Ayanna, with all due? How are you doing, black woman?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah. And everyone keeps saying we're in unprecedented times, and I just try to match that energy. If we are in unprecedented times, with unprecedented attacks and rollbacks, then we just have to match that energy with unprecedented organizing, unprecedented legislating, and unprecedented hope. And again, I never forget that hope is a discipline. It is a practice. And so every day I'm challenging myself to keep that. And Jimmy, I want to say thank you for, all the ways in which you continue to provide platform to inform and empower and educate folks. And also thank you for the ways in which you center my humanity and that of others by asking that question, but also checking in all the time. I do see them, but it has been a very intense season.
I understand.
In budget and with committee work and stumping to make sure we take the House back. So it's been a demanding time, but nothing I can't handle. Your sister has broad shoulders, and I was built for this. But I thank you for your prayers, for always speaking life, and for checking in.
I appreciate it, Congresswoman, and it's a note. Thank you for saying that you do see them, because if nothing more, that you're encouraged and being encouraged coming out of that. I need the team to tell me in the private chat exactly how long I got. But Congresswoman,
we have more than 10 minutes.
Okay,
I know you have 15 minutes. That's what I was told.
All right. Yes. So, Project 2025, because I want to end on a good note and talk about our Kamala. So, Project 2025, in layman's terms, ma'am, what is that centered, the goal of it to do in reference to, first of all, women's bodies, healthcare, and education?
Okay, well, I'll just say it very plainly. It is institutionalized Trumpism. Okay, so Project 2025 is a 900-page far right-wing extremist manifesto. It is a blueprint, it is a policy plan, and it is a transition plan. And it will only become a reality if Trump becomes president. So it implicates the federal government in that it would completely dismantle the federal government as we know it. I'll list some of the top line plans in it. And it's important to keep saying that these are plans, because what I found with extremist Republicans is that they don't make threats. They don't make you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they just don't say things to say things. Like, they don't make threats.
They don't miss.
They don't make threats. They make promises. They always, if you watch boxing, some boxers, they always telegraph their punch. You know where it's going to land, and that's true for extremist Republicans. They always telegraph their punch. They telegraph their harm. So that's what I've learned with them. They don't make threats. They make promises. So if Trump becomes our president again, this will be institutionalized Trumpism. This was something produced by the Heritage Foundation. It calls for a defunding of Title I funding for K through 12. So that's like a defunding of public education. And I've worked very hard to advance student debt cancellation and relief. We have a lot of relief the borrowers have experienced, more that is on the way. And that work won't continue if there is not a Department of Education. So, here the Democrats, I want to give you the affirmative case, are doing the work of student debt cancellation and relief, which has been game changing. Republicans want to dismantle the Department of Education, get rid of it, right? Project 2025 also calls for renaming the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Life.
What's
a Department of Life? And it calls for, a national ban on abortion, which call out what that is. That's a nation of forced birth, which is very violent, a nation of forced birth. And when we have a Black maternal morbidity crisis and Black women are still 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth or post-birthing complications, we know that if you put abortion care out of reach for people, it's not that they won't seek abortion care. They just won't do it safely. They just won't do it legally. But it's not just about abortion, because they said in Project 2025, Dobbs, the decision to overturn Roe was just the beginning. So it's also about birth control and contraceptives. It's also about IVF. It's also about mifepristone, which is a medication abortion, right?
Not being available.
So again, let me make the affirmative case. Democrats want to preserve and expand access to abortion care, which is healthcare, while in Project 2025, what's laid out is institutionalized Trumpism, and they want a national ban on abortion, which is a nation of forced birth, and they want to rename the Department of Health and Human Services the Department of Life. It also calls for, so in addition to banning our bodies, banning books, defunding every diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. And then the final thing that I'll just lift up for the purposes of our discussion is when I say that it's a transition plan, they already have surveys and online portals that you can apply to that test your loyalty to Trump, because what they want to do is massive firings. So
and reclassify. Yes.
Yes, it's called Schedule F. And it would be massive firings of dedicated civil servants who have worked under numerous presidents, Democrats, Republicans, just dedicated civil servants. There would be massive firings, massive layoffs. They would all be replaced with Trump loyalists, so this is really frightening stuff. So again, Project 2025 is institutionalized Trumpism. And this is a policy plan, a transition plan that means to control every aspect of your life. And that is why I'm a founding member of the Stop Project 2025 task force in Congress. And we are doing briefings and hearings, webinars, sounding the alarm. I think sunlight is the best disinfectant. So we want to make sure as many people as possible are aware of the threat of Project 2025. And I thank our sister Taraji P. Henson for using her platform at the BET Awards to drop that into the chat for people that might not have already been aware. But I am encouraged that so many more people are becoming aware of this imminent threat to the federal government as we know it. And one more thing, it doesn't just implicate the federal government, because Project 2025 cannot happen without the Supreme Court being enlisted as co-conspirators in advancing this extremist agenda. And so Project 2025 becomes a reality if Trump is president, and becomes a reality if this Supreme Court and this iteration continues. So you're talking about a Trump White House and a weaponized Trump Supreme Court, which is why I love that President Biden is now talking about court reform. This is a thing that we've been leaning in for a while. Myself, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, and others, Congressman Hank Johnson out of Georgia, have been sounding the alarm for a while, because the courts right now, their integrity has been undermined. There has been a lot of impropriety. We need thorough investigations into that impropriety. And let me just show you how this is all connected, James. The same donors that produced Project 2025 with the Heritage Foundation are the same donors that were trying to influence Justice Alito and Justice Thomas, Leonard Leo, same ones. Okay, so it's all coordinated. So we need thorough investigations into any impropriety. We need a binding code of ethics. I think we need term limits. I don't think these should be lifetime appointments.
Nope.
We need to expand the court, because right now the courts are moving in ways that are unprecedented. They are legislating from the bench, and they are repeatedly overturning the will of the majority of the people. They did it on Dobbs, overturning Roe, which the majority of the people support. They did it in a reversal of 50 years of precedent on affirmative action when it comes to higher education. They've done it when it comes to presidential immunity. So basically empowering Donald Trump and his criminality to move however he wants to move if he were to become president again, without any checks and balances, right? So that is Project 2025. It is institutionalized Trumpism.
So, Congresswoman, I know we got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
You did also see the other day that he told one of the Christian groups that you get out and vote now, He actually articulated out of his mouth, you don't have to vote again.
Right. Yeah, well, that's our fear. So when we say things, I think when we say that democracy is on the ballot or is on the line, I think it's I know, but James, I think it's abstract for people because it's like people aren't motivated by a thing that they don't connect to.
Okay.
I don't think people understand what we mean, but this is what we mean. One of the things we mean is no free and fair elections. Like, bye-bye. Okay. So we do have those credible fears. And they always telegraph their punch, right? They always tell on themselves. So when Donald Trump tells you something, particularly when it comes to hurt and harm, believe him. A couple of other things in Project 2025, mass deportations, mass incarceration of immigrants. Yes. And then also on death row, really, he would do a murdering spree. He's already said that because when in the final days of Trump's presidency, he executed more people on death row than had been executed in the last 6 decades. And he has said whoever is on death row, they would immediately be executed. So, I mean, y'all, it's all in black and white. It's so again, 2025, get into it. Institutionalized Trumpism. They want to control every aspect of your life. And it is a threat. This blueprint, this policy plan, this transition plan is a threat to everyone who calls this country home. Now, if you put that in contrast to Kamala Harris.
Let's go there.
Go ahead.
Before we get into policy, I have to ask you, as a Black elected woman, as a mom, as a daughter, as an aunt, as someone in this country, when you saw that the inevitable happened, that she became the nominee, Madam Congresswoman, how did you feel?
Yeah, I felt relieved because we were dealing with a real enthusiasm gap. Yeah. And understanding the threat of Project 2025 and what a Trump White House and a weaponized Trump Supreme Court would mean, I felt relieved. And because I knew that Kamala would immediately close that enthusiasm gap, and she has infused great excitement and is in real time writing a new electoral map, a new battleground map. So a lot of there are states that weren't in play before that now are in play because a Kamala Harris winning coalition, a Kamala Harris voter, and who she's exciting is a different coalition. So now we have, 18 to 35-year-olds who had been really checked out, newly engaged. We have new states in play like North Carolina, like Georgia, even New Hampshire. Yep. Michigan was always a battleground, so that was always in play. But again,
the numbers have ticked up.
The numbers have ticked up. And so Kamala appeals to women of every race, of every walk of life, of every age. And women historically have control of the vote, So I felt relieved. I felt encouraged. And I also was increasingly aware that we were going to have a lot of work to do to put this coalition together.
Did you think that would happen so quickly and so mightily in those first of all, shout out to the Black women that had the first call, then the Black men. Then I heard it was gay Black men. Then I heard white women had their call. Latinos,
yeah. Black women lead, real pace setters, and we do that call just so folks know. Win with Black women. Those calls have been taking place every Sunday night for 4 years. I know there were some folks that were on the call and they said, AP, why weren't you on the call? Well, AP was on the phone calling delegates because that's what the campaign needed me to do. Kamala had declared that we needed to find out how those delegates who committed to Biden, how they were feeling about these changes at the top of the ticket. Yep. And again, that's one of the reasons, because we were working those phones hard and getting that clarity from delegates is one of the reasons why we are now in such a good position for her as our nominee. But as Kamala said, she's going to go out there and earn it. And that is what she's doing. And I'm going to be, right there doing everything I can. I'll be in some states, in the coming days, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and some other states, stumping and surrogating for the vice president. We had another call, Win with Black Women, last night that I was a part of. there are just a number of groups emerging. So I do want to say, if folks have questions about how they can connect to the campaign, please do just slide into my DMs, hit up, anybody in my campaign, in my organization. Eddie Rupia, someone you can talk to, Sophia Abdid, both of them work out of work in Massachusetts, and they do work on the political side, as well. And they can point you in the right direction if you want to. We need everybody.
We need everybody.
We need everybody. And after I've talked to you about just some of the top lines of Project 2025, I know every election we say this is the most important election of your lifetime. But I meant it before when we were talking about President Biden, that I wasn't distracted by a 90-minute debate. I was concerned about 90 years of harm that would happen with another Trump White House. And so those concerns still ring true. So failure is not an option. We have to win. And it's also important that we take back the House, that we get the gavel back, and that we grow our majority in the Senate, because in order for Kamala to advance the things we care about, universal child care, paid leave, home and community-based services for the disabled and the elderly, investments in housing stock so we can have more affordable housing, the investments necessary for down payment assistance, for mortgages so that we can close the racial wealth gap. And I could go on. She's going to need the Democrats to have the majority in the House. We can move legislation.
We need that down ballot voting. Last question.
Down ballot, yeah.
Two, if you can fit them in and they can kill me later. One is all politics are local. I want you to talk about Stewart Healthcare. Had a little delay today because you, Senator Markey, Mayor Wu went out and talked about what Stewart is doing in closed Kearney Hospital. The very last thing is I would like you to speak to Black men. You have done a lot of work. Shout out to the Davis system that holds down that work for the love that you have for Black men, not just around voting, but there's a foundation there and there's been some chatter online. So if we could end with Stewart Healthcare and then end on an affirmative, as you say, and in love, and talk about Black joy and speak to your Black men that we know are the number one demographic that's being targeted with misinformation about Kamala Harris. Those two things, Congresswoman, and I'll let you go.
Well, you just gave me three things. I don't know. Okay, but so we're gonna do our best here. But I do want to close out this and just I got to give you something tight on Kamala, and just make sure people again understand that she is, going out there working to earn the nomination. I reject this language of a coronation. She's going out there working to earn this nomination. She has done the work. Will continue to do the work. She is qualified. This is someone who was a DA, was an attorney general, a United States senator, and our vice president. But, folks are going to do what they always do, which is to underestimate Black women, to discredit their qualifications, to try to minimize what her footprint has been. But she is poised. She is prepared. She is qualified. She is tested. She is trusted. And, this is ultimately about the future. And I always talk about being a better ancestor than descendant. Donald Trump and his sycophants, his loyalists, his allies, his accomplices, they want to take us backwards. They want to take us backwards. And with Project 2025, if that became a reality, if Trump had another presidency, institutionalized Trumpism, they want to control every aspect of your life. Kamala Harris is running because she wants to preserve and expand your freedoms. The freedom of your body, the free intellectual freedoms in your book, the freedom of your having access to the ballot, right? And so they are about taking us backwards. Kamala Harris is about the future. And although it is of meaningful significance that she is a woman, that she is a Black woman, I know that she will be a president for everyone. Okay, now, but we got work to do and we need y'all. All right, now on Stewart Healthcare. Speaking of work to do, this is, an incredible example of how harmful greed is. And when we have a for-profit, healthcare, it is possible to earn a profit and still care for people and to do that
mainly so
effectively and compassionately. But it just seems that once profits get involved, that overtakes everything. My family and I lived in Dorchester for 10, 12 years. I received care from Kearney many times. My family has, community members have. They don't turn anyone away. They are patient-centered. They are culturally congruent. They are compassionate. And I also want to speak about, not only do they play a critical role in combating the health disparities that are so persistent in the Massachusetts 7th Congressional District, but they provide a unique service in that they have 70 psychiatric beds. And so if Kearney closes, not only will it contribute to our health disparities, it will contribute to our mental health crisis. And it is already a crisis. And our community health centers and other hospitals simply will not be able to absorb the shock. And what that means is that people will go without care. They'll go without diagnostic care. They'll go without treatment. Preventative care, whether you're talking about, chronic disease or, emergency needs. And as Counselor Fitzgerald spoke so eloquently at the presser, that, many other communities have a hospital that they can walk to. Many communities have that, whether you're talking about Mission Hill or West Roxbury, with the Faulkner and the Brigham, respectively. MGH, Dorchester is the biggest neighborhood in the city. And it is the most diverse, both in terms of socioeconomic status, in terms of race and ethnicity. And we deserve a hospital that we can get to quickly. Kearney has, if not the shortest, one of the shortest wait times when it comes to an ER in the city of Boston. And so and when I went there, I was meeting and greeting with some of the workforce coming in, and I met nurses who've been there 55 years. 55 years. This is a hospital that's been in service to this community there for 160 years. So, Steward Healthcare, what they've done is criminal and unconscionable. And like I said at the presser, I'm outraged because this is outrageous. But this is unprecedented. We've never been here before. So we are learning in real time what tools are available to us. We will be exhaustive with them to do everything we can to keep this hospital open, both for the service it provides to the community, but also for the jobs.
There's a whole economic impact because you leave those people off. It sends up the unemployment. Council, I'm sorry.
No. There's AP is fine, but there's economic implications, healthcare implications. This is about people's lives and livelihoods, and this is about healthcare outcomes. And in the MA 7th, these are already some of the most disparate healthcare outcomes. So if Kearney Hospital closes, it means a loss of jobs, and it will likely mean a loss of life. Because it will exacerbate existing health disparities, and it will also exacerbate our mental health crisis because they have those critical 70 psychiatric beds, and they help adults and young adults and children, and no other hospital can absorb those essential services.
Yes,
when it comes to Black men, know that you have always been and remain top of mind for me, as I've maintained Black Boy Joy should be a rite of passage, and Black men deserve to grow old. I do want to take a moment to just hold space for Dr. Shalar, whose son we were recently robbed of, Christian, at the age of 17 years old. We've been losing so many of our young people. Look, I just want brothers to know that I've not forgotten you. This party has not forgotten you. And we have a responsibility to paint a vision that includes you, in our policies and in the future of this country. And one of the things I think that as messengers that we've done poorly as a party is that I think sometimes we define the Black man by their traumas
and deficits.
By their traumas, and instead of speaking to aspiration and innovation, and education and entrepreneurship, and abundance and wealth building. Instead, we will only speak to those most disparate outcomes. Those things require our attention and our intervention, whether you're talking about the mass incarceration crisis or the life expectancy of Black men or any of those other things. But you can't single issue any constituency, and you have to speak to the totality of a person. Yeah, and make sure that our policies, do that most of all. So, so we remain squarely focused on that. I know this is a priority to Vice President Harris, and we'll continue to push. And then, I'll just close on a note when, as far as Black joy is concerned, that there's a lot of work that we have to do, and we need to be as radical in that work, addressing these challenges from the root, but I think it's so important that we not lose sight of the dream, whatever that is for you. Like for me, it's that, pursuing higher education doesn't mean a lifetime of debt, that housing is a human right, that healthcare is a human right, that to be Black in birthing is to be safe and loved and sacred, and that a safe birth is a right and not a privilege. It's that Black boy joy is a right, a rite of passage, that Black men deserve to grow old. So I just want us to give ourselves permission to name the dream, to manifest the dream, because we're so used to trauma bonding and just sitting in the deficit and in all the in disparities and the injustices and the inequities. But you have to also allow yourself to dream radically, to dream deeply, and in that to be joyful. So be just as radical in your dreams and in your joy as you have pledged to be, in the work of mitigating harm and of advancing justice. And one way that I'm doing that is by voting. As my little sister Jasmine Crockett says, the only Black job that we need to do is vote. So voting is an act of self-care and also harm mitigation.
I was going to say self-preservation.
Yeah, self-preservation, self-care, harm mitigation, self-preservation, all the things, so that is one way that I affirm my dream for the future is in how I move at the ballot box. So, and we'll just close
on that floor.
Thank you.
And on that floor, Congresswoman, thank you, Sister AP. Love you. God's protection and speed your way. Mother's Board already got you on the prayer list, so you're already covered. And we'll talk to you soon. Give Poland and Cora my best.
I received that. Thank you so much. Take good care.
Thank you, man. Listen, everybody, I told you that our Congresswoman was coming today, and she was going to bring that different type of fire. And she did not disappoint. The urgency of now is key. And so, anyway, that's it for us today. We will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Shout out to everybody on Twitter and Instagram that is watching. If you have not liked and followed, go follow Java with Jimmy. Hit that follow button. Go over to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook and follow us. These are the type of conversations that we curate around getting information out and resources to mobilize our community to work in action toward a more equitable life for everybody. Go follow, go like, stay in tune with Java with Jimmy, be a part of the Java family and the Java Cafe. Shout out to Real Boston Media. Yes, we got over 1,000 people in here. It's actually 1,400 people in here right now. This information is important. We need you to call 10 people and get them to vote. We need you to call people in other parts of the country to get them to vote in those swing states and purple states. Call your auntie, call your uncle, and tell them to vote Harris and Democrat down the whole damn ballot. All right, I'm getting off of here before I get started. Tomorrow morning, for those of you that enjoyed today's show and wonder what this Java with Jimmy thing and who was AP talking to, my name is James Jimmy Hills. I'm a 52-year-old Black man from the city of Boston that started this platform in 2020 to ensure that our community had information about COVID. Over the past 4.5 years, we bring information to the community. Folks like Ayanna Pressley, Michelle Wu, Elizabeth Warren, our Governor Maura Healey. We have people from across the country, but more importantly, we bring in community people to talk about the work that they're doing and to tell their stories. We're going to continue that tomorrow morning. Local DJ by the name of Neil Poole. Neil is coming in to talk about the importance of the elements of hip hop and helping our community. Also on Wednesday morning, we have Dr. Kevin Simone, who is the first chief of behavioral health for the city of Boston. We're closing out Mental Health Awareness Month on Wednesday morning and on Thursday, talking about Black women that lead. We have the very first Black woman president of Simmons University. Lynn Perry Wooten will be with us on Thursday. This is the type of programming that you can get if you go like and follow. Press yes for the notifications for when we go live across all platforms. To all 1,500 of you that are in here watching right now, come back every day, Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. We have Java After Dark, which is a little more risque. And instead of coffee in the morning, you might see an espresso martini. We also just recently launched our new segment called Black Java, no sugar, no cream. Local major media outlets cut a Black driven focus program called Basic Black. I got a few phone calls that said, hey, Java with Jimmy needs to step in and take the reins of that. And so right now we're looking at August 15th as our next date. But if that does not happen, we will have another one coming up in September. My team is texting me to make sure I'm covering everything. Anissa, don't scare me. We got 1,500 people in here right now. And Ayanna left. And y'all still here. So come in, do me a favor, go in your comments on Twitter or Instagram and wherever you are, and let us know from where you're listening before we get ready to go. Appreciate all of y'all being here. We need to vote. We need to make sure the information is out there. Anyway, I'm getting off of here, everyone. I was trying to get a video of one of the nurses from Kearney Hospital that I had an opportunity to speak to a few months ago, so you can get a real idea of the impact, the personnel impact, the personal impact, and the patient impact that's going on with the state. With Steward Healthcare Systems not wanting to do the right thing and keep Kearney Hospital open. And of course, I can't find the video right now. So, all right, that's it for me. Don't forget, folks, to come back tomorrow. Ed said Fields Corner is in the house. Folks are in from Canton. Pastor Marion, thank you so much. Appreciate you. So we got our locals and we got other folks as well. Belinda, good to see you in the room. All right, folks, that's it for me. Don't forget to come back tomorrow morning where we have Neil Poole, Neil, a DJ, a producer, a radio personality here from the city of Boston. Come in and hear about what they're doing for their event on September 8th. Also, keep in mind, Exit Fame is having his 5-year sobriety celebration on this Saturday. I'm there co-emceeing, initially have some words with mathematics and some great artists and folks from the city of Boston and around. Exit Fame is putting Boston on the map along with Millie's and others. But he's in the ear and in the sight of Jada kissing them. And he opened up for the Locks. So Saturday, that's taking place. Check my page for more information. Don't forget that Everybody Gotta Eat is having their big event on August 24th up in Cambridge. We'll get more information about that as well. Also, don't forget to follow Real Boston Media if you have not, and also Stacko on Twitter. And all right, I'm tired. I'm getting off of here. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Don't forget to come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We'll see you then, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace, everyone.